Why talk therapy does not work for so many people. It can help at the right time, at the right place, but it does not get long-lasting or life-lasting results. And I've had hundreds of clients come to me and tell me word for word that they've done talk therapy or trauma therapy for years, if not decades, and they have not solved the problem. They have not healed through the root cause. I'm going to explain to you why that happens and what you can actually do to actually integrate properly and heal properly from a holistic angle. If you're new to my content, my name is Louis Huckstep. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a coach. I've written the book called The Inspired Life Method, How to Find Your Life's Purpose, Heal Trauma, and Create a Life That You Love. I've coached over 10,000 clients over the past 10 years. I've done tons of inner work and I help people heal trauma. And I've got heaps of testimonials to show it. I want to share one right now just to get this kick-started and prove the point that I'm trying to say. So this is one of my clients, Kel. I absolutely love Kel, one of my incredible soul. Now, trigger warning for this podcast, of course. She had a big T trauma. So her dad sexually abused her for 5 years, from the ages of 5 to 9. And the full post is here. If you're watching the video, pause the video and read the whole thing because it's a big post and I just want to get to the main point of this, okay? So she says this. Firstly, her asthma went away after doing the process and she felt so much lighter after the process. Now, listen to this paragraph. This is the money paragraph right here. To say I love my dad is something I never thought could ever be possible, considering I was bedridden 8 years ago in so much pain. It's been a tough 30 plus years I've spent in trauma therapy, but I'm so full of gratitude writing this in this moment. She is a perfect example of what I'm talking about because she spent 30 years trying to heal through talk and trauma therapy, but it never integrated the wound properly. Most forms of talk therapy or trauma therapy. Now, when I say most forms, it's dependent on the individual. Like you might have an individual therapist who uses other modalities, which is amazing, and they actually close the loop properly. What I'm saying here, based on the clients I've worked with and all these people that come to me, is a lot of talk therapy or trauma therapy does not close the loop of the trauma. It does not actually heal the wound properly. It can have some healing aspects to it. Like a benefit of actually talking to someone is being seen, being heard, being able to vent, get things off your chest, all those things. That's a part of it, and that certainly helps, and it's a stepping stone. That's why I say the right time at the right place. But if you do not close the loop, if you do not heal the wound properly, then you're just kicking the can down the road. Now, you may relate to that because if you're watching this video, you've probably tried some talk therapy before, or you've probably done some inner healing work, or you've done some self-growth shit before. If it's not you, you may know someone who's gone to talk therapy or trauma therapy and they still repeat the same patterns. They still have the same triggers. Why is that? They're not closing the loop of the trauma. So I want to explain to you how to do that today. So again, you've got clarity on what you can do to continue your healing journey in a holistic fashion. So I'm going to do some teaching for you right now. So buckle up. I've got some information coming for you. So if you're not watching the screen, guys, I'm sharing my screen. So go watch that if you can. So this is actually from my 3-day event, my content. So what is inner work? Let's define that to start with. This is a big definition. You don't have to remember this one, but I've got a simplified one on the next slide. So inner work is the psychological, emotional, physical, spiritual, and energetic practice of identifying and dissolving the contractions and blockages that obscure your inner light, your true authentic self, for the purposes of self-awareness, healing, transformation, and expansion. That's what inner work is, or inner healing is. This is my definition because I like to simplify things. It is dissolving, healing, or integrating the wounds and blockages that are masking your true self. Listen to that again. Inner work is healing and dissolving the wounds and blockages that are masking your true self. Absolutely love it. So, for anyone that's heard the Statue of David quote before, it resonates so heavily with what I just said. So for people that don't know, there's a statue of David. Michelangelo made the Statue of David. And someone asked him, supposedly, how did you make such a great statue? And his answer was beautiful. He said, it was easy. David was always in the statue. I just chipped away anything that wasn't him. Mwah, beautiful work, right? It's removing the things that aren't you. It's healing the wounds that are masking your true self or your authentic self. I hope that's landing for you and making sense. This is a definition I absolutely love when it comes to trauma and healing. It is the process of loving and integrating all parts of who you are. Let that drop in. I'll use an example in a moment. It is the process of loving and integrating all parts of who you are. Absolutely amazing. So here's an example for you. When a baby is born, what parts of the baby is worthy of love? It's an obvious answer. Don't overthink it. What comes to you straight away? For everyone that I've asked this to, the answer is all parts. All parts of a baby is worthy of love. And you're absolutely correct. But then we go through what we call trauma or pain or our conditioning in our upbringing, and we learn that some parts of us are not lovable. They are traits, behaviors, and parts of who we are. That's what trauma is. Rejection, abandonment, criticism, judgment, anger, abuse, dismissed, invalidated, all these things. That's what trauma is. It's parts of you that you don't love because it's been painful for you in your upbringing. I hope this is making sense. I'll give you guys an exercise to do in this training so you can understand a bit more. So here's some definitions of trauma that I absolutely love. Dr. Gabor Mate says this really well. Trauma is not what happens to you, it's what happens inside of you. Beautiful quote. It's not what you go through, it's what happens inside of you because of what you go through. It's the meanings, perceptions, and beliefs and stored emotions that you have or pick up through what we go through. Again, very subtle distinction, but it's very beautiful. Dr. Sarah Woodhouse has this quote, which I love. Trauma is unprocessed memories. So there's a loop that hasn't been closed yet. There's an unclosed loop mentally and emotionally that has not been finished or closed off yet. Again, beautiful quote. Dr. John D. Martini, he's my favorite mentor that I've ever worked with. He says this, anything you can't say thank you for, be grateful for, or have love for is baggage. Anything you can is fuel. It's very similar to the next quote that I have of his. He says, anything you experience outside of love and gratitude is a lopsided perception. Remember Kell's testimonial. She said it before. To say I love my dad is something I never thought could ever be possible. And then at the end, she said, it's been a tough 30 plus years I've spent in trauma therapy, but I'm so full of gratitude writing this in this moment. Now that can be triggering to hear. How do you get to the point of having love and gratitude for the trauma you've been through? That is a very challenging question to ask if you haven't done proper healing work before. Because when you heal properly, there is nothing to forgive. There is nothing to say sorry for. You are left with nothing but gratitude and love. That is hard to comprehend if you haven't done proper healing work before. I like this little parable. I'll share it with you now. When we start our life, our journey, we start off blaming others. Then we heal, we grow, and we evolve, and then we start blaming ourselves. Then we keep healing, we keep growing, we keep evolving, and then we recognize there's no one and nothing to blame. When you do proper healing work, you recognize that everything is perfect. That what happens, happens for a reason. Now, these are very cliche, fluffy quotes that you've probably heard on YouTube and motivational videos and all that shit. But it's very true once you get it. Not just intellectually, but in your heart. I would not be the healer that I am today if it wasn't for the physical, emotional, mental abuse I experienced in my upbringing from childhood. The trauma, the pain, gives you purpose. Greater the pain, greater the purpose. Greater the wounds, greater the wisdom. Now, these, again, very cliche, fluffy quotes. How the fuck do you actually do that properly? Do my balancing process. Kell's testimonial is from my balancing process. My balancing process uses about 6 modalities in the one process. And with that being said, I'm actually going to show you the different bodies to do in your healing journey. So I'm sharing my screen again if you're watching the video. So let's continue. So trauma is a moment in time when something was too much or not enough. That's my definition of trauma. It's a moment in time where you create a perception that something was too much or not enough. It was overwhelming or underwhelming. So it's going to be something specific. It's going to be a trait, a behavior, an action, or an inaction, a part of a human. It'll be something that someone did or something someone did not do. That's what trauma is. I love Dr. Joe Dispenza. He is one of my top mentors as well. He says, to change your personal reality, you must change your personality. Boom. Absolutely love it. To change your personal reality, you must change your personality. Love that quote, which lines up with this quote from him as well. Thoughts are the language of the mind. Emotions are the language of the body. So that's getting you into the 5 bodies I'm about to teach you, where there's many angles to heal. When I hear thoughts, that means perceptions. That means beliefs. That means the coding and conditioning on your mind, your conscious and unconscious mind. Your emotions is your nervous system and your emotional home that you live in consistently. Now, they intertwine with each other because there's the thinking feeling loop, if you've done any of Joe Dispenza's work, where you think positive thoughts, you feel positive emotions. That influences more positive thoughts, which influences more positive emotions, and around it goes. However, it can do the opposite. You have negative thoughts, you think you have negative emotions. That makes you feel or think more negative thoughts, and so on and so forth. So you want to go from both angles. You want to address the mind, which is your thoughts, your perceptions, your beliefs, all those things, and the emotional state as well. That's your nervous system. That's suppressed emotions, all these things, okay? So there are 5 bodies to heal through, 5 bodies to integrate to heal properly. So the first one is the mental body. That is what most talk therapy addresses. That's like your thoughts, your memories, your perceptions. But even on that, most people that do talk therapy don't even close the loop of the perception. They don't rebalance the perception. They talk about it, they lean into it, they start to say, oh, I forgive this person. Here's the thing. I actually wasn't planning to say this. Think about this. When people say, I've forgiven this person, that still implies what that person did was wrong. Listen to that. I like this quote here. To the degree that you resist reality is the degree that you suffer. Love that. To the degree you resist reality is the degree that you suffer. So when you have mental or emotional resistance towards anything or anyone, it says or shows, it's revealing something hasn't been integrated yet. Because if you say, I've forgiven this person, that still says that that person did something wrong. And that's what trauma is. You've got a wound there still. So you can forgive it all you want, but that same wound will still trigger you because you haven't healed it yet. I used to say I've forgiven my dad for what he did to me. And don't get me wrong, just to reframe that a little bit better. It is better. It's a better stepping stone. Forgiveness is better than resentment. Forgiveness is better than hatred. It's better. But saying I forgive still implies that person did something wrong. When you do proper healing work, proper integration work, proper transformation work, there's no one and nothing to forgive. I don't forgive my dad. I say, thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad, for helping me be the gift that I am. Thank you for gifting me with all of my strengths, my purpose, my gifts to give back to others. I would not be making the impact I'm making today if it wasn't for my dad doing exactly what he did for me. I hope that made sense. So I hope that's landing for you guys. So that's the first body. That's the mental body. I'm going to fly through this because we'll probably be here for a while. Second is the physical body. This is known as somatics. If you ever hear do somatic work, that's what the physical body is. You might have heard the term, the issues are in the tissues. You can store negative emotions from trauma that hasn't been processed properly in your tissues. That's where getting body work, kahuna massages, breath work can tie into physical body. Breath work is more the emotional body, which is the third body. Your emotional body is your nervous system and your suppressed emotions. This is my favorite 2 bodies that I'm really good at is the mental body and the emotional body. That's what I'm strongest at. I'm really good at helping people process thoughts, remove limiting beliefs, collapse perceptions, and express any suppressed emotions and regulate their nervous system. That's what I'm fucking good at. I do in-person events now, but I'm not like a body massager person. That's not really what I do. But you can do I'll show you some tools that you can do to actually touch on all of these bodies as well. The 4th body is the spiritual body. This is where we get into plant medicines, into spiritual rituals, into meditations and stuff like that. It is your level of connectedness to God, source, oneness, presence, divineness, whatever you want to call the greater source, whatever you want to call it. That's the spiritual body. The 5th body is the energetic body. This is where you're working with the meridians, your chakra centers, your biofield, the meridians, all these things. The energy centers. That's where sound healing, Reiki healing, energy healing, quantum healing comes into it. These are the 5 bodies to address. And the reason I said this at the start of the video, why talk therapy doesn't work for a lot of people, number 1, they're not closing the loop, full stop. So they're not even integrating the mental body, but let's pretend that the person is, because there are incredible therapists out there that do integrate other tools to get the result. But if you only do talk therapy, but you haven't addressed the other bodies, there's other bodies you haven't healed yet. This is where I've had a bit of a go at some people who say, this process and this modality is better than everything. Breath work is the best thing on the planet. Plant medicine is the best work on the planet. Hypnotherapy, NLP, DeMartini, Reiki healing, sound healing. There's so many different modalities out there. There is no modality that's better or more superior than others. I personally agree that some modalities don't close the loop though. So some modalities just don't close the loop and they don't heal it properly. So I agree with that. But let's pretend the modality that you're using is closing the loop. It's actually healing and completing the loop of the trauma. But if you only do something that's mental, so let's picture this. If you're an intellectualizer, like I used to be, and I still am to a large degree, people that intellectualize a lot, very intellectual, a lot of those humans will intellectualize and disassociate in their own head. It's how they protect themselves from feeling emotions. If you're someone who had a lot of pain and high levels of emotion and chaos and felt unsafe in your upbringing, a lot of you will learn to disassociate in your own head. You'll overthink things, overanalyze things. Those humans, which was me, struggle to feel their emotions. They suppress their emotions a lot. So say you go do some NLP, some D-Martini, some sort of mental processing stuff. Fantastic. But what if you aren't feeling your emotions? Then you're missing a piece of the puzzle. Then it's time to go address your suppressed emotions. Maybe some breath work. Maybe some emotional release techniques. Maybe a rage release. Something like that. You want to make sure you're doing all bodies, addressing all bodies. Because this quote that I love, there's no ultimate martial art, only the ultimate martial artist who knows every martial art and pulls from the right one at the right time to get the right result. That is what Bruce Lee said. There is no modality that is superior and it's the only one you should ever do. I have my ones that I use, but I tell my clients, hey, look, I don't do this. Go try this. Go do this one as well. Integrate that into your healing journey. I hope that's making sense. So I will continue. So you address all 5 bodies. That will reveal your true essence, your soul. Remember the statue of David. By addressing all 5 bodies in your healing journey, you're going to express your true self, your soul, your essence, your quote statue of David. That's the goal of inner work. That's what inner work is. So now I'm going to give you a quick definition of what each body is and some examples of each one so you can start your journey, whether it's with me or elsewhere. So the mental body is our thoughts, memories, perceptions, attitudes, beliefs, limiting beliefs, and judgments. In other words, our ego. So the ego, my definition of ego, is your human identity. It's not good nor bad. It's all of it. It's your conditioning. It's your computer that you engage life with. That's what the ego is. Here are some modalities to address the mental body. Ego dissolving, that's one of my tools. The balancing process, that's one of my tools as well. NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. Timeline therapy, hypnotherapy, traditional therapy, D-Martini facilitation, CBT, meditation, Psych K, holographics, internal family systems. Also, there's other ones out there that this is not a complete list. There are many more out there. In my book, go grab a copy of my book as well. I think I've got a list of about, 50 in here, in this book, listing out all these different modalities that are out there. You got the physical body. I mentioned it before. It's somatics. It's soma. Soma means body, if you're not aware. It's the skin, everything underneath the skin, the brain, the organs, everything in between the ears, the skeletal system, fascia, blood, ligaments, and veins. So, some exercises to help with the physical body. Yoga, exercise, dancing, movement, qigong, body work, kahuna massages, tantric healing. Again, heaps more out there. That's just a good starting point. The emotional body, mentioned it before. It's our nervous system, our hormones, our touch, our water and water release, tears, any suppressed emotions. Here are some modalities to touch on the emotional body. My ego dissolving process, my balancing process, breath work, EFT or tapping, emotional release techniques, rage releases, meditations, holographics, IFS, again, internal family systems, EMDR. I haven't tried EMDR myself, so that's why a lot of these I've tried myself. Or I'm aware of. I've heard great things. I've heard EMDR is fantastic. Again, I haven't tried it yet, but I've heard great things. The spiritual body. This is your connection to all things, including earth, self, what we call God, the universe, the beyond, the divine, the higher self. It connects us to all that is. How present are you in your day-to-day life? Now, here's some processes to address it. The balancing process, meditation, plant medicines, ceremonial practices, holographics, plus there's some other ones out there. The energetic body. This is the one I do the least amount of work with. It is the subtle, intangible layer of our being that represents the flow of life energy within and around us. Often described as your biofield, your aura, or energy system, it bridges the gap between our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects. Here's some examples of some modalities to do some energetic healing. Chakra balancing, sound healing, breath work, crystal healing, meridian tapping, aura cleansing, Reiki healing, and meditation. There's heaps out there. There's so many out there. So go try them all. So there are more out there outside of this list. There's many, many more out there. What tools do you start with? This is what I commonly get. They're like, holy shit, there's so many ways to heal. That's why I said talk therapy is a starting point. As long as you're closing the loop, it is useful. If you don't close the loop, I don't think it helps that much, to be honest. It helps you be seen, express what's on your mind, vent a little bit. But if you don't close the loop of it, you're not healing. And you're not addressing the other bodies as well. So that's why, one, close the loop of what the wound is. Two, do the other bodies. Address all the bodies. Holistically heal, please, and thank you. So where do you start? It depends what body you need to address the most. So it is a personal answer. There's no right or wrong. So those are the 5 bodies. Take a screenshot if you do. Put it on your Instagram. Give me a tag if you want to. So this is my obviously biased opinion. I've experienced over 20 different modalities. 20. They're incredible. And I've been certified in 9. So what I do, I see myself on a bit of a mission to become the ultimate martial artist. That's a bit of a mission that I'm on myself. So what I do is I'll go try a new modality. And if I absolutely love it, I'm like, holy shit, this was game changing. This changed my life. I then go get certified in it. I go get trained in it. So then I can add it to my toolkit. So I can, quote, become the ultimate martial artist. So whoever comes to me, I've got the right tools at the right time to get the right result. So that's a bit of a mission that I'm on. And what I do, I actually blend modalities into the one. My balancing process, which is my signature process, that integrates 6 different modalities into the one. Pretty cool, hey? Anyways, which ones would you start with? This is my biased opinion. These are the 3 modalities that serve the most and move the needle the most. My favorite one is my balancing process. I use 6 different modalities in there. It heals trauma, it releases suppressed emotions, it collapses perceptions, and does a whole lot of things. It touches on every single body. So the 5 bodies, it at least touches on all 5 of them. Some of them will be more than others. It just depends on the individual, but it will at least touch on all 5 of them. My second is my ego dissolving process. That's for beliefs and suppressed emotions. Third is meditations. Very similar to Dr. Joe Dispenza's technique, where he gets you to change your emotional state, your emotional body. Because remember, there's thoughts are the language of the mind, emotions are the language of the body. My perceptions, my balancing process and my ego dissolving process helps significantly with the thoughts and also the emotions. The meditations is focusing heavily on the emotions. It's consciously changing your emotional home that you live in. Those are my top 3. I have all of those for my clients, and that's what I help clients with. I hope you got value from this. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd love to hear your takeaways. I would love to know from you, what's the best life-changing modality, healing practice, thing that you've done that's changed your life when it comes to healing? Put it in the comments. There's some that I've never heard of. I love to hear more about them because then I do some looking into it. I heard of a new one the other day, actually. It was really cool. I can't even remember the name of it, but it looked cool. So comment it down below if it's really served you. If you'd like to work with me, I'd love to give you a free trial to my coaching. And you actually get instant access to all my tools. You can find your purpose. You could do my balancing process, heal some trauma, remove limiting beliefs, heal suppressed stuff today if you wanted to. There's a free 7-day trial down below in the comments, in the caption somewhere. You get a one-on-one call with me when you join as well. You can cancel whenever you want. I appreciate you. Please like this video, subscribe if you haven't, comment down below if you haven't, share it with a friend. I appreciate you. Have a great day. Bye.